welcome to Wayne Gas number 149. Now take a good look at that view, because you will never be seeing it again. Let me explain. I made this decision a little while ago, well, a few weeks ago, okay, New Year, to stop doing these. So, being, you know, a bit obsessive, I didn't want to finish on 149, I'll finish on 150. The last one I'll try and make special in some way. I've got a few ideas, but I'm winding these up. I've had enough of it. You know, there's a whole host of reasons I'll go through. The main one is, to be honest, I'm sick of being this character, right? Some of you know that this is an exaggerated version of me. So if I tone it down a bit, you know, it's not as interesting. Now I don't moan and bitch on all the time. This will be full of moaning and bitching, because at the moment my life is pretty shit. I have a lot of heavy personal stuff going on. I can't outline it at the moment. I'm not going to. I don't want to at the moment. I will at some point, probably in the last one. But I do apologise for the wind and the usual shaky cam, but by now you're probably used to it. I haven't got the microphone with me because I forgot, and it's in a box somewhere. So you're going to have to put up with the wind and stuff. So I'm trying and shield it a little bit, make sure it's not on macro mode. But yeah, so why am I calling it a day on these? There's a shitload of reasons. You know, one, I'm sick of people mistaking the character from these things as me. Now, some people say, well, why do you do that then? Stop being that character, because it's not interesting. I'm not an interesting person, right? This exaggerated version is much more exciting and a bit more entertaining to listen to. Same as when I'm recording DVDs or videos, I do the same thing. Now, yes, I can be an outgoing character. I'm not like that all the time. Most of the time, you'll only see me like that if I've had a bit to drink or something, you know. Or if there's a crowd, you know, Mr. Yanko, who I worked with at Screen Scene on Last Days on Mars, was the only person who twigged straight away how when I have to run a department, how I do it. And he turned to me one day on my own and he says, "You're an entertainer, aren't you?" And I thought he meant all the escapology stuff from years ago. I said, no. He says, whenever there's a crowd of people in the room, he says, you light up, he says, you take charge of the situation and off you go. And everybody gets on side. And I thought, like, that was a very intelligent sort of like, observation. He's absolutely bang on. But me as a person, as I say, I'm quite a boring guy. And I think that just went out. Let's see if I can light it in the wind. Some things never change, eh? Hope you all had a good New Year. So, happy New Year. Last year, unlike most people, I had a fantastic year. And the year before was pretty damn good as well. Now, whenever I have a good year, most people say to me, oh, it was a shit year. When they have a good year, I have a terrible year, right? So I know the people that have got stuff in the pipeline and they're going to have a good year this year. So I know mine's already started terrible. But yeah, there's a load of reasons. My eyes fucking watering with the cold. You'll have to excuse me. I'm not crying because of the end of these. Trust me. In a way, I won't be sad to see the back of them. Because it is a bit of an undertaking, you know, to do these things all the time. And I haven't done them as much over the last year and a half. If you look over them, I should be number 300 by now. But I haven't done as many because when I'm working away, and I mean, like, you know, the times when I've been in Dublin for, you know, 6-7 months and then another few months and stuff like that, I can't talk about what I'm working on. It's like the stuff from Last Days on Mars. The full breakdowns are probably not going to appear for another week or two at the time of recording, right? Now that means it'll be nearly a year and a half since I started working on that stuff. So by the time you can see the full breakdowns of what we did and how impressive some of that stuff is and the timelines we had, it'll be old stuff. And to me, it's dead and gone. And I don't want to slip up while I'm doing these things and mention something, even in passing, that might break an NDA. So sometimes the easiest thing to do is not do the videos, right? But also it's the fact that I've been pulling back more and more over the years from what I call the 3D world online. Some of you know that you've got my website, or websites, there's more than one. You've got YouTube here, the stuff on Vimeo, Facebook and Twitter, and that's it. I'm very easy to avoid if you don't like me. You know, I've seen a lot of transition since I started doing these many years ago. I think it's 6 years, something like that, 4, 6 years, 6 years, something like that. Anyway, I started doing these. We lived in Langley Park. I think it was just after my son was born. At the time, a little tiny bit of a name in 3D, but you know, that was only from the old ZBrush days. That was only because I was around a lot and doing all those bloody speed sculpts. And I came from a nothing to achieving rather a lot. I know people hate it when I point out what I've done, and they say, why are you always doing that? Because I live here in the middle of nowhere, and unlike a lot of people who have, you know, big firms to push their work, I don't. In some ways I'm the best kept secret in 3D. There's many things I've worked on that people don't realise. You know, that an asset's been, they realise at the last minute it's pretty shit, so they've came to me to tidy it up. I never get credited for that. There's all sorts of big projects I've worked on that I can't mention. You know, yeah, that does piss me off a little bit, but it comes with the territory. And then, you know, it's seen me go through from using ZBrush all the time, writing the ZBrush book, which is, I believe, is still the biggest one that was ever wrote on ZBrush. It was like that, right? I think there's only a handful of people who've ever read it from beginning to end. Although there's all sorts of dynamite in there that people really never, I don't think you can even buy it now. But of course that came out due to the publishers thinking it was a brilliant idea to release it the same day as Autodesk released all the beta images from what was the first version of Mudbox for quite a few years. And of course I'd done a shed load. I was all over the place with videos and everything else. Now I thought people would realise that I didn't have any control over when something's published, so it came out the same day. Now I'm going to equate this to, imagine you're a football fan. Now, right, if you're not English, right, I'm talking about soccer for all you American guys, right? It's still football, right? Let's assume you're a fan of Sunderland, right? Now Sunderland and Newcastle hate each other, right? It's football teams. Well, hate's probably a strong word, but I'll give you a bit of basic idea. Imagine you're a Sunderland supporter. Sunderland are playing Newcastle at St James's Park, and you are the only Sunderland supporter there, surrounded by Newcastle fans. That was what it was like, and to some elements it still is. There's a lot of people that don't like me because I don't fit into a pigeonhole, you know. It's always, well, why's you got to do this? You've got to be lying. You know, I'm like, look, I don't need to fucking lie. I've achieved enough. I know what I'm capable of. Now I don't mention many things because I'm just sick of the crap, you know. It's like, you got to remember that back in the day, I seem to be the only person to get Mudbox working stable on my machine. It just worked right. Of course that was, you know, a red rag to a bull to a lot of people who effectively treat software like football teams, right? And I was the only guy, well, I wasn't the only guy, right? But there was a handful of us. So you'd probably count on one fucking hand the people who were vocal about Mudbox in the early days. Who were prepared to say, no, look, give it a chance. And it didn't matter how much you were basing something on fact, they didn't want to hear fact. They wanted to hear facts that backed up their argument. Now, I can be very forthright. It's why, you know, companies often bring me in, is because I will tell them the truth, even if they don't want to hear it. Or I shouldn't say they don't want to hear it, but if it's the sort of truth that's uncomfortable to hear, I'll tell them it. You know why? Because if I don't, somebody else will when the product comes out, whether it's a film, a TV thing, an advert, fucking whatever, a game. If somebody doesn't tell them, sometimes they don't know. And I've just got one of those odd brains that sees the things sometimes that other people do not. And I'm not quite sure, you know, why that is, but it's just part of who I am. Oh, I've got a big tractor coming up here. But with a big pile of shit on it, somebody would say that's quite fitting. I'm going to be quiet here because you're not going to hear a thing. Picture of me with a big pile of shit. Yeah. Jesus, that fucking stinks. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh, I admit your eyes fucking water that one did. But yeah, so I've often had this, and I've been doing this publicly now for, let's see, I think it was about 99 when I started properly, as I call it, doing 3D, although I've been doing it for years before that. Although I've been doing it for 20 years, we'll say 14, 15 years, right? Properly, professionally. The trouble is that there's many people that now only know me from work I did years ago. I don't post on forums anymore. I don't post on websites, or even on the Mudbox forum stuff, and the Mudbox site. I don't post on them anymore. Why? There's too much baggage that comes with, and I know what this sounds like, but it is correct. There's too much baggage comes with me, right? There's a lot of people that are pissed off for no goddamn good reason, to be quite honest. And, I think the tin hat in it all was that thread on CG Talk, Well, there was no fucking reason for that. That was nothing, I made my post and never read it again. But I'm quite aware, I can guess what the rest of it was. Because it'll be the same thing I've been having for 14, 15 years. I'll clean the lens here. But I've had this on and off now for years, over a decade. There's not many people who've had a decade and a half of shit. I have done more than many people to help, often for free. Now I think there's now, just counting the stuff that I own copyright for, or the stuff I've done that's available for free, there's 47.5 hours of videos of mine. Now, a lot of them are Mudbox, a lot of them are Max, there's all sorts of stuff. There's ZBrush ones, all sorts of stuff there. Now that's not counting the stuff that I've deleted over the years, which is probably equal another 40 hours. I've released plugins, programs, bloody the vector displacement shader that time for Mental Ray. I've done a lot of stuff, but then I also get crap when I do stuff like my facial capture system, because I won't tell everybody what it is while I've got a painting going through. Or Beast, the 3D scanning system, which people want to sort of pretend doesn't exist. It gets better quality than anything else out there. Now, people don't have a trouble with the likes of 3D scanning and facial motion capture, because normally the stuff's quite expensive to set up, and a small studio can't afford it. They'll either have to rent it, or they might just think, fuck it, we'll do it normally. But when you have a guy like me come along and says, right, well, I can set you up both for less than £1,000, suddenly it becomes a whole lot more viable. That pisses people off because they think it's costing them jobs. What they don't see is the things that I've held back. It's like those people that were at my lecture in Las Vegas, at Cave. I showed part of my character system, and I won't cover what it is, but somebody asked me, well, will we ever get our hands on this? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take a poll in this room. If I put this out for free, or even for something like a couple of £100 or something, right? The fact that then it is easy for anybody to make a character that will be in sort of my style, a high-end film character or game character, you're effectively killing off the low and middle end of the freelance market overnight. And I took a quick poll, and everybody agreed, best where it is. It stays in my hands. Now, some people give me shit that, well, why can't I have the good stuff? You know what? Because you haven't worked to create it. If you don't put the work in to create something, do not get pissed off when I do. Now you see, there's times like that when the real me comes out, because I do not like the whole, well, Wayne's doing this, he must be lying. I don't lie, I don't need to. It's like why I never get, pissed off when there's, let's just say, designs that are in either some games and some films and some TV stuff, and they'll do something like a monster, and you'll think, well, that's nearly identical to something I did 10 years ago. Or something I did a year beforehand when they were making. And I don't get pissed off, because if someone needs to copy me, it means they can't come up with their own ideas. I can. Ideas are falling out of my head. I haven't got the time to do them. Sometimes I haven't got the resources to do them. It's so it's about time people back the fuck off and realise that, yeah, I do a lot of things. I can do a lot of things I've tried to release 3 albums last year of commercial music. One of them was a classical concept album. Not exactly a whole lot of classical musicians, let alone ones that also do dance music and fucking rock and reggae and ska and everything else. That's on top of that. Then you've got a background as an escape artist. Yes, I realise I come across as a bit of an oddball. I don't fit into that round hole. I'm like a 9-dimensional shape that's not going to fit in any fucking hole. But that's part of what makes me attractive for employers. It's why some people will keep saying, well, why do you tell us about all these cool things you're making if we can't have them? Because often it's not meant for you. It's meant for the people who employ me. It's a shop window. Other times, it's because I want somebody to know that I created this. So when somebody recreates it years from now, that I can always say, well, yeah, I did that 4 years ago, I did it first. Because there's a certain amount of pride there in me and what I've managed to do as a lad from Concert in the middle of nowhere. I mentioned the classical album. When I released that, I came across the class system in classical music. Lads from Concert aren't supposed to be either interested in or able to write a classical album, much less a classic concept album. And I got a lot of crap from that side. Those people don't even know who I am, but they didn't like the idea. So it's not just the 3D world, although yeah, there's part of that. Some people will hate me. I've been accused over the years. I've had people walk up to me at events and say, yeah, you didn't really have the stroke though, it was only just so you get a publicity thing. I'm like, publicity? Are you on fucking drugs? Seriously? What do you think that does to your career when you have to go public about having a stroke, even a minor one? I got away very fucking lucky with that. And I find it offensive that anybody would ever accuse me of that. Now, if by any chance I'm going through my old correspondence and find some of the letters from the stroke unit, you know what? I'll put a video up and I'll put them on Facebook and everywhere else, because it would shut the fuckers up, wouldn't it? But that means going through fucking years and years worth of freaking crap, and I'm not entirely, motivated to do it right now. But if I find them, yeah, I would. I shouldn't be bothered, but sometimes I am. I'm sick of the whispering campaigns about me. Like, people assume I'm some sort of fucking meathead. That's why I like going to Vegas, because there was a lot of people who realised that I'm just a normal guy. Yeah, there's like this performance switch in my head that enables me to break complex things down into something simple to explain to people. It makes things interesting. It can also get a bit annoying to some people, but I've got an off switch. I switch it off, bosh, I'm back to normal again. It's if the 3D world has came to the point where nobody's ever allowed to disagree with the party line, if nobody's allowed to change things so radically that we all have to have a rethink about our skill sets, what the fuck are we doing it for? I remember the shit I got for like Mudwater created a load of shit. Why would we do that? Why do you need it? And now there's a version every single fucking application just about. In a way, I wish I'd patented that fucker, because I'd been rolling in it. But that was never the point. It was to make life easier. Vector displacement shit. Now everything's got vector displacement in it, because although it existed in the likes of PR Man, it wasn't big. You know what I mean? And I did a load of videos and I made them so they were purposely impressive, turning basically a cylinder into a head. And I think the render was some daft, like 10 seconds or something, or 3 seconds or some fucking shit. And that impressed people, and it helped to turn the corner. I've done a lot of things over the years. Like I once said about environment modelling was easy. Right? I've covered this before. And I got a load of shit off people, and there's people who I know in the games industry were saying, well, the lads are fucking well pissed off with you. I'm like, well, it is easy. It's not bloody brain surgery. And I was called a liar. Then I had calls to do the Durham Cathedral interior and exterior for FXPhD when I was doing stuff for them. Shut everybody up. It's a complex model, but it's not a hard model. That's not a hard model. Repetitive. Mind-numbingly boring at times. A lot of research, yeah. But is it hard? No. Nowhere near. I proved my point. No, there's a thing full of shit just coming back. Now there's no shit in it. I still get distracted, don't I? But yeah, you know what I mean? It's, so, sorry for the noise. But, yeah. So these, in some ways, have done me a lot of good. Keeps my name out there. Keeps me on the radar for employers. Very easily. People don't like, and by people I mean the vast majority of the 3D industry, the fact that I'm really good at self-promotion. Right? They hate that shit. As if it's somehow a sin. Well, I've got a message for you guys. What do you think you're doing by going on a forum? And don't say it's sort of, we're doing this for critique of the work, because a lot of you, yeah, that's part of it, but you also want to say, look how fucking cool this model is, and do not lie otherwise. There's a small part of you that wants confirmation that it's decent. Now, why is what I do any different? I'm just good at it. I always say that I should retitle my job as professional turd polisher. You can give me something that's pretty ropey and I'll make it look fucking good. That's part of what I do, because production is a lot of time polishing the turd. Taking something that, you know, in the viewport, looks a bit fucking ropey, but if I do this, this and this and talk to the company part and break these passes down and they do their magic, bosh, looks nice. That's what part of it is. It's not about spending 4 years on a model, no matter how good it is, and I've seen some fabulous ones, you know, that have taken years to do, that are a work of art, but production-wise, no good. I'm a production artist. In fact, I don't even want to use the word artist. What I do isn't art. It's not art. I treat it in a way, it's like, people always see a disparity between my personal stuff and the stuff I do professionally. And they're like, how come the professional stuff is far better than your personal stuff? There's a lot of reasons. One, I've got access to a massive fucking render farm and a lot of different software and very powerful machines when I'm working. Two, it's because I don't take my personal stuff incredibly seriously. Very rarely does my stuff have a message. When it does, it's a message people do not like to see. But yeah, so that's why there's disparity. I don't take it incredibly seriously. Employ me? Oh yes, I take it very, very seriously. I might enjoy myself, but I take it seriously what I do. It's also helpful when you're working professionally, when you have a fresh set of eyes. It's when everybody's pulling in the same direction, it helps massively. You know, it's 3D artists, when we're all training and doing stuff for ourselves, we're doing it as solo guys, right? Production, it's not a one-man army. You're part of a team. You know, that's what it's all about. The more that you work as a team, the better. But people miss this team aspect. The whole needing to know the rest of the pipeline. Knowing how to do lots of different things, knowing lots of different software. Specialist is good. I've been a specialist for many years. In the last couple of years I've spent a lot of the time doing either big rocky holes in the ground or digital doubles, you know. Bit of a fucking expert at holes in the ground and rock, me. Rock to do, yeah, I'm your guy. So, I also do a lot of other things, as you know. Things people often don't see. You know, it's like take fucking Moonfleet. All the characters were all rigged by me. And my joke's always, if I'm rigging your characters, you know you're fucked, right? Because I'm not a very good rigger in Max. Rigging Maya. So I'm changing from a personal stuff over to Maya. Why? Because all my work stuff lately has been seen to be done in Max. And people forget I can use Maya and Softimage and all these other apps. So I've got a short. So I'm messing around at the moment with Arnold in Maya, you know. Yeah, sometimes it can come across that I've got a bit of a victim mentality, you know, I know that. But it's very hard, as I say time and time again, to live in the middle of nowhere and try to make it. I see it as nothing short of fucking miraculous that I got any job in the industry whatsoever. It's like, Christ, I live amongst the sheep and fucking cows. There's no 3D firms in concert. There's a couple of game firms in Newcastle. You know, those guys out there aren't going to move anytime soon. Not like you've got an entire shitload of studios. There's no visual effects up here. And it's always saying, well, why don't you move to London? I don't want to. I'll move there if I've got to, for a short time, or for 6 months or something. I wouldn't want to live there all the time. You know. I think the only place I would live permanently that I like is either, I like Utrecht and Amsterdam, I like Dublin, places like that. You know, I try to live life on my terms, I always have. Now I'll be careful because I'm falling back in the character again. But yeah, it's like, to me, you know, they don't like, I don't think a lot of places, don't like somebody who doesn't fit in the pigeonhole. They don't like a 9-dimensional shape like me, right? Because I can do that many different jobs. I come at, you know, problems from a different angle. There was somebody, was it John that said that? I can't remember. Somebody said it at screen time. Like somebody said later about me thinking outside the box. And whoever it was, I think it was John, that said, no, he doesn't think outside the box, he fucking lives outside the box. And I see that as a fucking good thing, right? It's a really good thing, because I don't want to think like everybody else. I don't want to be everybody else. I don't want to be their sort of little template and stamp out 5,000 fucking Waynes all over the industry. It's not what I want. I always want to be unique. I don't try to be unique. Unique's not always good because it costs you a lot of fucking money, and that's where the tip used to be. It's been removed now. Haven't been up here for about fucking hell, about a year. A lot of shit's changed. But so yeah, I know what I like to do now. It's taken me many years to be comfortable in my own skin, in my own head even, with what I do. It's like, I stopped doing monsters because people said, well, you can only do monsters, and monsters are easy. If they're so fucking easy, how come 3/4 of monsters in movies and games look shit? Oh, that's right, because they're not that easy. You know, and I haven't done a monster now, a good one, a proper one that I've concentrated on for, Christ, 2 years. Yeah, lots of little dickers about, you know, but nothing serious. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to go back to that again, you know. It's like, Christ, I've sure I can do pig and humans. What's left? Animals? You know, that's not my field. I'm not really big on animals. You know, I don't really want to do fucking sculpt camels or some shit, you know. Yeah, there'll be some interesting things, and I don't mind now and again, but I did that black rhino, you know what I mean? Counts as an animal, even though it's apparently extinct, and then suddenly it's not extinct. I wish they'd make the fucking mind up. But, you know what I mean? My personal stuff at the moment, I do a lot of R&D. Stuff that eventually will be used by clients. Now, if I'm back over at Screen Team for any reason, Ed knows that the stuff I'm doing at the moment, and it's not just Arnold stuff, there's all sorts of things I'm playing around with, that then is stuff that he's getting as an extra skill that he's not even having to pay for. Just something else that's now in my head. It's like being fucking Neo in the Matrix, you know. You know, I need to learn to fly a fucking helicopter, you know. Same sort of thing. You sit down, you fucking learn it, you work hard. So what I'm trying to say to people is, those of us that work extremely hard, and I'm just not about work, I'm on about that constantly learn, are constantly trying to learn new things, new ways to do things, and shake up the industry and stop you being comfortable. Because a comfort zone is bloody bad. I know I fall into it quite regularly, and I've got to then give myself a kick up the arse and get out that comfort zone. So get out of your chair, switch this video off, go and do something that you think you're bad at in 3D or 2D. Something you're crap at. Something you don't think you'll ever get to do. Then sit down and fucking do it. That's how I do it. I just say, okay, I'm crap and I don't know, fucking think of something. See, I was cool and I was the only guy for some reason doing a load of wave shots like on Moonfleet. I would sit down and I would cram day and night and learn until I knew how to do it as good as anybody else out there. Because that's the sort of person I am. I love learning. I love learning new stuff. I love solving problems. You know, even the problems that people don't even realise are there. I fucking love that stuff. You know, I like organising things, pulling a team together, making everybody pull in the same direction. I love that shit. I live for that side. You know, making things do things they're not supposed to do. You know, I love stuff like that. But then you've got people who just want to do it the same way as they've always done it because new things are scary. Well, wake up and smell the fucking coffee because life is scary. And if you're not scared a little bit, you're doing something wrong. I always want to have that little tiny bit of scare in the back of your head. Is this actually going to fucking work? Because you start thinking harder. You start working out everything, finding every problem you can before it occurs, and finding a solution. Usually, I don't like to come up with a problem in production without having at least one solution. And those that have worked with me, you know that. I might come up with a problem, it might be there for most of the day, and at the end of the day, boom, I come up with the solution to solve the problem. Because sometimes it's got to go through that thought process. You know, work your way through all the items on the list. So yeah. As I said a long time ago, I realise people don't like me. Get over it. Get to the back of the fucking queue, because there's plenty of you. I don't stay still. I haven't been doing the same thing in the same role for the past 10 years, like many people. You know, I'm not just here to make a living. I'm here to do what I enjoy, what I love doing. I keep saying time and time again, people keep saying to me, he's a big head. How? When have I ever said that I'm the best artist in the world? When? Show me one occurrence. I might have said it when I'm pissed one night, but I have to be fucking legless, because that's not something I would come out with. I have always said there are better artists than me. And if you look to the east, look to China, Japan, look to India, all these countries over there, the Arab republics, there are some phenomenal artists over there that we haven't even seen yet. You think you're good, some of you? You're not even fucking racing next to these guys. These guys learn in cursive script. The guys learn in Mandarin. If they do that wrong, it's a different fucking word. So you make it and you wonder why they're good at doing things like a likeness, or they're good at sculpting or drawing. Of course you have, because that's part of their culture. So don't bitch if somebody does something different or better than you. Up your game until you are as good or better than them. If you're not prepared to do that, then you don't deserve it. It's like now, I'm 43 later this year in May, 23rd of May by the way. And I'm too fucking old for some things. Like I know I'll never be a good 2D concept artist. Why? Because my brain works in 3 dimensions. Give me blue tack, give me fucking plasticine, clay, fucking ZBrush wood box, anything you like, 3D go and I'll make something nice. But give me pencil and paper and it's mediocre at best. It's my limitation. You know, quite a big one actually. But, so yeah. But on the other hand, I pick things up extremely fast. I can process information, find a solution, usually a unique one, come up with brand new ways of doing things. So to me, that cancels it out. You know? So as I say, this one's maybe quite a negative one in a way. And congratulations if you got to this far in the video. But as I only have one more left, you know, it's maybe nice to be able to say some things. It's for the majority of my career, I've been used in one way, shape or form. Sometimes it's people wanting stuff for nothing. Sometimes companies wanting promotion for their software for nothing. Sometimes it's a favour so that something will sell. Sometimes the fact you're vastly underpaid or not paid at all by a client. The payment never comes. Sometimes I've got to do, well, I don't have to, but I do lectures all over the place to learn people. Now, the ones who don't turn up and think, oh, it's just Wayne Robson. Now, they're missing out because I've never done the same lecture twice. I think 1 year at End User I did the same lectures twice. That was the year I had the stroke. And normally every lecture I've ever done is completely unique. Every single one. And I could redo every single one of them like that now. There's not many people do this. There's loads of people go down with 2 or 4 lectures. I've had about fucking 36. You know, that I do to try and help. A lot of the time I don't get paid for these things. I get my flame flight paid for, my hotel paid for, and if I'm lucky, my meals and a couple of beers. That's it. You do it to help, you don't do it to try and impose your will. What I'm doing is basically going to people and saying, look, there is a different way of doing it. Whether you want to do it, not fucking you. Do it this way, do it your way. I couldn't care less. Honestly, I could not care less. Because I know what works. I know what I can do and what time. I know I can crank out a full film quality digital double in about 24 hours or so. I know I can do it. Did it before. Not many people can do that. Not many people want to do it. Not many people want to handle the stress of that. I eat that shit up. I eat it up for breakfast. That's the sort of stress I love. If somebody says to me, we've got an impossible time, it can't be done, do your best. If it's possible I can do that, I will fucking do it. Because that's the sort of person I am. I've always got something to prove. Not to you or anybody else, but to me. I'll keep proving things till the day I die. You know, and I enjoy that. It's part of me. People forget that. It's not just about making fucking pretty pictures. That's bullshit. Anybody can do that with enough training and a bit of time. It's about what sort of person you are. What's in your heart. What's in your soul. How much you're prepared to give up for it. Because I can promise, before the middle of the year, you'll see exactly how much at times I've had to give up. Because maybe it's useful to you as kids to be warned of the things it can cost you. The things, you know, that make life harder. The compromise you may have to make. You know. I sit in my hometown now. I know two people. Being working away that much, I felt a contact with most of my mates. I've got no idea where they're at. Could have been on the fucking moon. You know, my closest friend felt a contact with them about 2 years ago. Why? I was working away. Phone went, pfft, and that was it. All the numbers went. Things like that. So, it costs you a lot. Be sure it's a price you want to pay. It's no good bitching when the piper comes asking for his fee. Be prepared to handle it over with a smile and say, you know what, it was fucking worth it. Every single line. So, I'm going to go on, and on that note, remember, make sure every single stroke you do, every model, everything you ever do, make sure it is worth it when you come time to pay. If it is, fucking run like the wind. Do what you think is right. Don't always listen to the naysayers. They want things to stay the same. They don't want people to get too far ahead or they can't catch up. It's not a race, it's not a competition. You do what you do and you go ahead and run with it. So off you go. There's only one more way in cast, so off you go and run.